Okay, let's check it out whether I'm live or not. Guys, are you there? Okay, I think it's perfect. Live. So, hello friends, I'm Atul Dahale. I'm a FIDE instructor, and today, but am I live, guys? Is there anyone you can say hi and then we can start so that I should know? I think 2 or 3 people are joining us. Let's begin then. Okay, so guys, I am FIDE instructor Atul Dahale. FIDE instructor means a certified chess coach recognized by the World Chess Federation. And as a player, I have an international rating also. My highest rating was 2184, and I have played plenty of tournaments since the year of 2005. You can say that in the year of 2005 I got an international rating, and ever since that I'm playing in state, national and international chess tournaments all over the India, also then Malaysia, Italy, and also in Spain. Especially I love the tournaments in Spain. I always enjoy playing there. And coming back to our course, the topic of our discussion today is the art of attack. Yes, we will be discussing about art of attack. The thing is that what we are going to do is like how to prepare an attack, because there are certain things which we need to know before starting an attack. Like we need to prepare for it. As you might be knowing that whenever any country or someone goes for a war, they prepare for it first before launching their attack. So how to prepare for that attack, we will be looking at it through some of the good games of good players today. Okay, here first hello is there. Hello Pranali, good to see you here. I think more people will join us. If any problem is there in the chat, like video or audio, please let me know, guys. Okay, we'll try to make it more interactive today. So should we start with our today's thing, like how to prepare an attack? If you say yes, then definitely we'll start. Okay, so what I want to say is like first of all, in any kind of attack, the first thing we should do is like bring your pieces. That is also called as bringing all the toys to the party. Because let's suppose you are going for a party, and if you don't have any friends there, then how does it feel? It feels very boring, right? So in chess also, when we are playing any game, at that time we should have all our pieces playing for a certain goal. Especially if you are attacking in your opponent's side, like king side or queen side, wherever you are attacking, you should have your pieces mobilized to that part of the board. So we will see first game, which was played between Cole and Delvox. Cole was a very great player of past, and this game was played in 1929. Okay, good going. Thank you. Okay, let's look at the game, and in between I will be asking you questions also related to the moves. If you can guess the moves and if you can tell me the move, I will be very happy, and we will be discussing lots of concepts related to the attack through these games which we are going to see today. So let's start with our today's game. The first move is d4, played by Cole here. Did you get the move? I hope you are getting the moves also. Okay, fine. So d4, d5, white played knight f3. This is the basis of any opening. I will tell you, in any opening there are 3 principles. First of all, you should control the center. This is the center of the board. Like 4 squares are said to be very important on the chessboard. Like 4 squares, there are center. Then second thing we should do is like develop your pieces as quickly as possible. And the third most important concept related to the opening is like castle. We'll see why these things are important, and I will tell you before we attack, these things are very important, that we should control the center, we should bring our pieces, and our king should be safe. Okay, let's see what happens. So now black played knight f6 and white played e3 in this position. By playing e3 move, what he is doing, well, he is bringing this bishop in the game. He might be playing bishop d3, putting some pressure on this diagonal, that is b1 to h7 diagonal. So let's see what black plays. Black played e6 in this position, then bishop d3 was played, and c5. Well, black is putting pressure on the d4 square in this case. And what is really happening? What should we do in this position? Can you guess what should black play in this position? Can you tell me guys any move? I'll wait for your answer. Whatever move you want to play, let me know. Okay, I'm waiting for your answer. Okay, this is the first question for you from this game. Okay, I think are you going to answer? I can see there are some people. Okay, I'll tell you. Black wants to play in this position c4 also. If it manages to play c4, then our bishop, which is developed on this d3 square, will be forced to go behind in that case. So white plays c3, so that whenever c4 will be played, bishop will be having a space on c2 square, so that it can maintain himself on this diagonal. So now black played knight to the c6 in this case. Okay, typical Cole. Yes, it is a typical Cole. And yeah, c4 was a possibility in this position. Definitely what we are talking about, c4 is definitely possible in this position. But as this game is played by Cole, and Cole was the inventor of Cole opening, and this is the opening he played. In his opening, he used to play this structure, like the pawns were like this in this format, and it is called as the Cole's format in the center of the board. And this is very important. Like as I said earlier, in the opening we should control the center. So white is controlling the central squares with his pawns. He is rapidly developing his pieces, and the third most important thing will be safeguarding your king. Okay, so black played knight c6, white played knight bd2. Obviously our knight should come in the game. There is also one more thing, that before you play your bishops, you should develop your knights. Well, why you should develop your knights? You might be knowing that knights are little bit short range pieces, because as you can see, the knight will take 2-3 moves to go, let's suppose, to g6 square, but this bishop which is sitting on the d3 square can go to g6 square in just one jump. So it means that bishops are long range pieces and knights are short range pieces. Okay, what is the doubt? Why white plays first? Well, it is a rule. That's why white plays. There is nothing like why white or black. It is just the rule which was invented when this game was originated at that time. There is no such rule like why white only plays first move. Okay, so black played bishop e7 in this case, and white quickly castled. As I was mentioning, your king is safe. Usually the king will be safe if he has 3 pawns in front of his king and one piece which is supporting here. And another thing is that why king is safe when he castles? Well, he is safe there because you can see black's army is there here, and the army cannot really attack anything on this king quickly. But if it's in the center of the board, then it is possible for black pieces to attack him if the center gets opened up. But as the king is in the corner of the board, it is unlikely that black will be getting his pieces quickly towards that side of the board and he will checkmate or he can attack there. Okay, now black played c4. Well, this move is played. Bishop has a square on c2, that's why it moves to this square, and now b5. Now, as I told you earlier, like before launching an attack, we should call all the pieces to the party, right? So this is the first thing we have. Here we have this bishop. Another bishop is also on this diagonal. The knight is also controlling the e4 square. This knight on f3 is going to e5 or g5 square. And now, as we have developed our pieces, okay, what we should be doing in this position? We should try to open up the position. One more thing I will tell you. Whenever we want to open a position, we should see that our pieces are ready in the game or not. That is the basic thing of opening up the position, because the side which has more active pieces will get more advantage in the open space. Okay guys, do you have any questions until now? Please let me know. Okay, so in this position I have a question for everyone. What would you play from white side? As I mentioned earlier that we need to open up the position. How will you open up the position in this case? Do you have any suggestions? Well, it is white to play. Parnali, it is white to play. So what will you play from white side? Okay, I'm waiting for your answer. I hope I'm audible also. e4, excellent. We should play e4 in this position so that our pieces will be coming back in the game very quickly. Now you can see after e4 move, the bishop which was sleeping on the c1 square, it has open diagonal. Yes, that is very important. Whenever we are preparing for our attack, we need pieces. Okay, always remember this thing. Now we'll see what happens. Okay, we are putting more pressure also. Now e5 is the threat. Let's suppose black castles in this position, then what will happen? Obviously we will play e5, dislodging this knight from the f6 square. It will go to the d7 square. Now our bishop will be having a great scope to attack on h7 because there is no defender. This is another one thing I would like to tell you, like on chessboard there are some attacking pieces and some defending pieces, just like the football field. In football field some are strikers and some are defenders. Let's suppose on the football field somebody is like passing the ball and he enters into the half of the opponent's like area. In that time, if the defenders are not there, then it is most likely that the goal will be scored. Same way, when we are attacking with our strikers, our pieces are there on our opponent's king, that is like our goal, then it is most likely that we will be able to score a goal. That means that we will be able to win some material or we will be able to checkmate our opponent's king. That's why whenever it is possible, we should try to distract the defenders from the position. If the defenders are not there, then obviously our attackers will do wonders in the position. Okay, so this was the main move which was there. So obviously black doesn't really want the pawn should come to the e5 square, so he plays d into e4. Obviously then white captures, knight takes e4, and now castles. Now what to do? Join, like bring all the toys to the party, bring all your pieces to the party. So what will you do? You still have some pieces which are not there in the game. So which move will you play? I still have a question for you. Which move will you play? We should bring our pieces. Okay, I'm waiting. Okay, I'll give you some time to think about this position and you can tell me the answer. Queen e2, perfect. We should play queen to e2 square. Another thing which I would like to tell you, as center is the very important concept, like very important in chessboard, we should try to centralize our pieces. There are two files on this chessboard. These are like the central files, and another three files are there on the king side and another there on the queen side. So if you divide the board in three parts, then one side will be the king side, left side will be the queen side, and the center will be like, okay, you can see like the central files are there. So whenever you want to mobilize your pieces, if your pieces are in the center of the board, then they can travel anywhere. They can go to the king side or queen side very easily. That's why you should centralize the pieces. Okay, so I have one more suggestion here, that is rook to the e1. Yes, definitely rook e1 is also a good move in this case because you are centralizing your rook and you are developing a rook also, because on f1 the rook was not doing that great job, but on e1 it is doing something because we are on a half open file. One more thing I would like to tell you, that on chessboard rooks belong to open files. Okay, whenever you put your rook on the open file, it will definitely give you a lot of scope, and bishops belongs to open diagonals. So can you repeat one thing, like can you tell me in the chat that rooks belongs to what and bishop belongs to what? Can you type it there so that I will know that you are understanding with me, you're learning something new? Rooks belongs to what and bishop belongs to what? Let me know in chat. I'm waiting for your answer. Okay, till that time I'll just play the move which was played in the game. Queen e2 was played in the game. Rook belongs to what? Rook to the open file. Perfect. And bishop belongs to diagonals, that is open diagonals, right? Rook bishops belongs to open diagonal. Well, after queen e2, in this case bishop b7 was played. Obviously black also wants to do something in the position, that's why he puts his bishop on this open diagonal. He also understands this thing that bishops belongs to open diagonal. Now as you can see that white's knights are ready to jump in the case. One more thing I would like to tell you, that knights belong to center. Okay, the way bishop belongs to open diagonals, rook belongs to open files, knights belong to central squares. And knights are very tricky, they can jump here and there because bishop belongs to, yes, perfect, perfect, Pajat. It's absolutely right, bishop belongs to open diagonals. And as I was saying, if the knight is in the center of the board, then it, what happens if the knight is in the center of the board? It connects with 8 squares, it controls 8 squares by sitting just in the center of the board. I'll just show you in this case where this knight is going. You can see all these 8 squares are being controlled by the knight. So that's why you should put the knight in the center of the board if you want to cover more space with your knight. Okay, so here, as white was ready with all his pieces, he decided to now attack. So this is all we talked about, is a preparation. Preparation means what we did, we first of all control the center, we kept our pieces, we brought our pieces to the squares where they are exerting more pressure on our opponent. As you can see, the knight is well placed here, queen is also well placed, bishops are also well placed, they are doing something, and this knight on f3 is also ready to jump on g5 square. So this is the basic of any kind of attack. While preparing an attack, we should have our pieces. Don't forget this thing, that it is some kind of a party. Whenever you are attacking, it's some kind of a party, and in party we cannot enjoy without our friends. So bring all your friends to the party, bring all your toys to the party. Remember this thing. Okay, so now here white played knight f g5. There is an indirect threat in this position. So guys, if you are here, please let me know what is the threat from white side. It is attacking on h7 square, and there is this bishop is also there. Which threat is there? Can you tell me? I'll wait for your answer. I'll give you some time, so that, let's suppose I'll play from black side one move, that is a6 in this position. Then what would you do? I can see Gajenji sir is there, and some good players are there in the chat. You can tell me which move will you play. I'll also enjoy if you tell me the move. If a6 is played, what is really happening? Knight f6, perfect, knight will capture on f6. One more thing I would like to tell you, like whenever on the board, if your pieces are on the right squares, what really happens, that the tactics will come there. Now the question comes is like, what is tactics? In tactics, what happens, like there are 3 things which are very important. Tactics are related to checks, captures and threats. Okay, it is also termed as CCT in chess: check, captures and threat. Here, whenever we are on the move, if you want to know your opponent's threat or your threat also, what you should do is, like, you should ask yourself one question: if I am on the move, or if your opponent is on the move, then what would you do? Yes, knight f6 is absolutely right move, because after a6, as this random move we played, after knight f6, what is happening, we are clearing the path for our bishop here, and our knight was already sitting on the g5 square, so it is attacking on h7 square. And as I was telling you or mentioning you earlier, the defenders and attackers, now in this position, as you can see, this bishop, although it was sitting quite far away from the position, as it is a very long range piece and it is having an x-ray attack on h7 square, and the knight on g5 is obviously attacking here, and there is only one good defender in this position, that is the knight. So if you remove or distract your opponent's defender, and if we have more number of attackers, obviously we will win some material whatever we are attacking. So here knight f6, check, black must capture here, and then we can play knight h7, or even bishop takes h7 is also a good possibility in this position, and black will be giving a check, then king h8. And now there are plenty of moves from our side, but I think queen h5 is the best move in this position. If black plays bishop takes g5, then we can capture bishop takes g5. Now the queen is being attacked. If he moves the queen anywhere, can you tell me how will you checkmate black's king now? Let's see whether you can tell me how will you checkmate black's king. There is 2 moves checkmate in this case. Let's see whether you can find it. Till the time you tell me the answer, I will drink some water, and let's see whether you can find the checkmate in 2 moves. Yes, discovered check, but what will you play? Can you tell me the move? Yeah, discovered check means I can understand here. The discovered check is the check by which, like, there is some pieces there and in front of it some other piece, usually a major piece or is there, and minor piece will be in front of the major piece. On the chessboard, rook and queen are called as the major pieces, okay, and bishop and knight are called as the minor pieces. So usually what happens, the king is there, your opponent's king is there, our major piece, that is queen, will be there, and one minor piece which cannot really give direct check to your opponent will be standing in between king and the queen, or you can say king and the major piece. And in that case, if you move the minor piece, then we will be giving this check. That check is called as the discovered check. Yes, perfect, perfect. Bishop g6 followed by, he has only one move, that is king to the g8, and now queen h7 will be a checkmate. Absolutely right answer, guys. This is how. Now what really happened in this position is, like, we have so many pieces, like 3 pieces were there, and that's why we were able to attack and checkmate our opponent's king. So this is another thing which you should remember whenever we are attacking. Bring your pieces. I'm telling you this thing again and again. Then bring all your friends for the party, bring all your toys to the party, okay? So here obviously black understood that there is a pressure on h7 square and he played h6. He did not fall for it, but even though he played this move, white still played knight f6 because he wants to remove his opponent's defenders in this position. So black played bishop f6, and now he played yet another move. Well, you can see the bishop is on this diagonal, okay, and white played a very tricky move. He played queen e4. Now the idea is, obviously he wants to checkmate his opponent's king, sorry, not diagonal, he wants to play this move, queen h7, and he wants to checkmate his opponent. Now as checkmate is threatened in this position, black decided to play g6. Now one more thing is there, the concept of overloading, okay. What is the concept of overloading? Let's suppose one person is there and he is assigned to do one job. He can definitely do that job, but in between, if you tell him to do another job also at the same time, then he will be overloaded. That no one can do 2 things at the same time. It's a very difficult thing. I think, like, there is only one person who can do 2 or 3 things at the same time, is our mom. Apart from that, there is no one in the world who can do that thing. So same thing goes with this pawn also, which is there on the f7 square. It is doing 2 things. It is supporting the pawn on g6 and also supporting the pawn on e6. So can you find a good move in this position, guys? Your knight on g5 is being attacked, and what to do in this position? Can you take advantage of this thing? The pawn on f7 is being overloaded. I'll tell you one thing, that if you can remove the defenders in front of your black's king, then you will be having a great job. So what will you play in this position? Is there? Can you tell me? Okay, here the pawn on f7 is being overloaded. That's why you should play knight e6. Well, what is happening? If this knight, obviously the pawn can capture the knight, but we are not going to be afraid of this thing, because if you capture the knight here with f takes e6, then white can play queen g6 in this case, and if he goes to h8 square, then we can play queen h7 and it will be a checkmate. So as this is going to be a checkmate, black played bishop g7 in this case, and after this move white played queen h7 check. He is dragging his opponent's king in the center of the board. That's where, why is dragging him in the center of the board? Because there it will not have a good shelter, and we'll see how he checkmated his opponent. As you can see, these bishops, although they are sitting quite far, still they are attacking on g6 and h6, both of these squares. So king was played on f7 square, and now white plays bishop g6 check. If the king goes to e7 square, then we can capture queen g7 check, and now if the king goes to d6 square, then we have yet another good move in this position. Well, here you can just simply just capture the bishop on b7 also. That is enough for you, because your opponent's king is in the center of the board, and that is not something good for him. So black played king f6, and now white played bishop h5. The idea is quite clear. White wants to give this check on g6, the king will move to e7 square, and the defender of the g7 bishop will be gone, because king is the only defender of this g7 bishop. Now Well, he plays knight e7. He wants to protect the square on g6. And now the pawn on h6 is being attacked by two pieces, the queen as well as the bishop on c1. So he plays bishop takes h6 in this case. Okay. And now after this, okay, fine. Bishop takes h6, and now rook plays rook g8 was played. The pawn on bishop on g7 was supported, and now it's time to checkmate our opponent's king. So he plays h4, and after h4 bishop takes h6. If you play, then queen f7 is a checkmate because this bishop is protecting the queen on f7, and the king is not having any squares. So this is a great successful attack by white pieces because he had all his pieces to attack his opponent's king. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this game. So we'll go to the next game now, which is also interesting. I'll just go through the game once again for you. Like, this was the position, what we did, how we prepared for the attack. Like, first of all, we in the opening we developed our pieces as quickly as possible, like this, a bishop, knight, and the center is also in our control. Then we kept our pieces on good squares where they can exert the pressure. Then we castled so that our king will be safe, and after this, when the pawn was there, when the movement arrived, at that time we opened up the position so that our pieces will get more room. Okay, that's why e4 was a very important move. d4, knight e4, castles, queen e2, and then bishop b7 and knight jump to g5 square. So I hope you are understanding these things, like how to prepare for an attack. You should keep your pieces on good squares where they will be having a good job. It's like assigning a job to your fellow members in the company. If you give good job to a good person, what he can do, if you keep him in a good position, then obviously he will enjoy the job also, and he will work more efficiently in that place. So that is what we should do when we are playing on the chessboard. So this is what happened, and this queen e4 and especially this knight e6 move was really good. I always enjoy this game. And finally, when the movement arrived, and this was a great checkmate with queen f7. So let's go to the next game and try to understand what will happen. Next game is also very interesting. It was played between two great masters of past. Okay, so I hope you are ready to look at that game. Are you ready? If you're in there, just say yes to me if you are ready to look at the game. So the game was played between Blackbird and Blackburn. Blackburn was a great player. He played in the World Chess Championship matches also in the year of 1890s, and he was a very firm opponent of our first World Chess Champion. Our first World Chess Champion was William Stennis, and he played in that era. That era was in the period of 1880 to 1890-95, that time. And this game which we are going to see was played in London and in the year of 1891. So here Blackburn's opponent was Blankard. He started with e4. Okay, so after e4, e5 was played, white played f4, and now black played bishop c5. Then knight c3 was played, and then black plays knight to the c6, knight f3, and now e takes f4 was played. So as we know that whenever we want to attack, first thing is that we should control the center, then we should bring our pieces. That's what we are going to do. We are going to control the center by the pawns here with e4 and d4. The bishop is being attacked. Obviously we have already developed two knights. We should always try to develop our knights before the bishops so that they will be occupying good squares, because bishops can be developed at later stage of the game because they are long range pieces. Okay, means the choice is always there. If the bishop on f1 is there, we can put it on c4 or b5 anytime. Okay, so black played bishop b4, and now white captured the pawn on f4. Then d5 was played, and obviously we don't really capture the pawn on d5. We will play e5 because we want to control the f5 square also. And now in this position, black decided to capture on c3. Well, I'll just tell you, in the opening we should not play same piece again and again. It is not a good strategy, because as if, like, let's suppose we are working in a team. Okay, in that team, if only one person is assigned the job, or 2-3 people are only working and other people are not doing their job, how does it feel? It doesn't feel good, right? It is not that much logical also. Same way, in the opening phase, we should try to bring each and every piece in the game as quickly as possible. That's what we should do. But if you're playing the same piece again and again, then other pieces might be feeling like, okay, what are we doing? Are we there just to sit on the bench? Obviously not. That's why you should not play the same piece again and again. So here black played bishop c3, which is not that good. Ideal move bc3. Okay, he might be thinking, okay, if I capture on the c3 square, then the pawn structure will be damaged in this case, because two pawns are there in this case and the pawns are doubled. Black player played bishop e6 and white played bishop d3. Here bishop d3 is played because he wants to attack on this diagonal. You can see that in this case also, like in the previous game, bishops are very powerful, and as we have seen, bishops are like, bishop belongs to the open diagonals, and both the bishops in this case are on open diagonals. Okay, so here black played h6 because the pawn on h7 was being attacked. Then white castled, and after castle knight g7 was played. And here in this position, as we were talking about this before also, we should play with all our pieces. So the rook on a1 is not doing that great job in this case, so he plays rook b1 to attack the b7 pawn, as rook belongs to the open file. Okay, I think more people are joining us, so I'll be asking you questions. Here the pawn on b7 was hanging, so black plays b6 in this case. Now what to do? Which piece we should play here in this position? If anyone of you there who knows a little bit chess, yes, open file. So Parnali, can you tell me what will you play in this case from the white side? I'll wait for your answer and let's see whether you can tell me. Yes, open file. Okay, I think I will tell you. Now white should play queen to the d2 square, because by playing queen d2 in this case, this bishop and queen are going to be there on the diagonal, which is a very important diagonal in this case, because at any position, if black castles in this position, then at any moment, then obviously we can play bishop takes h6 in this case. Well, bishop a6 you want to play. Okay, if you play bishop a6 in this position, okay, you want to control this c8 square maybe, but I don't think so that bishop should go to that place, because bishop is already well placed on this diagonal, so it doesn't make that sense to keep it on a6 square where it will not be doing that great job. Centralized bishop is much more stronger, so I think the queen was not developed. That's why you should play queen d2 just to bring it in the game. And by playing queen d2, you are doing one more thing also. Your rooks are being connected to each other, and that is a good thing. Okay, I hope you understood this thing. So after queen d2, black castled in this position, and as I was mentioning earlier, the pawn on h6 is a little bit weakness in this case, and we have this bishop as well as queen hitting on the h6 square, right? So what now in this case, what we should play? Should we capture on h6 like this bishop takes h6? Should we give up the piece or what? So again, in this position you can see how many defenders are there from our opponent's side. Attackers and defenders should be calculated each and every time whenever you are going to launch an attack. We have already prepared for it. See, preparation is done. We have center closed. One more thing I would like to tell you, if you want to attack on the king side or queen side, the best way is to first close the center. What really happens when we close the center is, like, your opponent's pieces, if they are on the queen side, then they will not be able to mobilize themselves to the king side very easily if the center is closed. It's like there is some bridges there between two cliffs. Okay, the central bridge is there. If you burn that bridge, and if your opponent pieces are on that other cliff, let's suppose on the left cliff, then they will not be able to go on to the right cliff where the main battle is going on. That's why whenever you are playing on the king side, try to close down the center, or whenever you are playing on the queen side also, it makes more sense to close the center. Okay, so here, as we are talking about defenders and attackers, in this case black's king is not having that many defenders. The knight is not there really defending in this case. This knight on c6 is not in the game. The rook on a8 is also a little bit far away from the center, and you can see the main action which is going on the king side. The queen is also not participating in this case, so it makes more sense for us to open up the position. That's why white decided to play bishop takes h6. If you think a little bit backward also, you can see that this bishop is there on this diagonal. This knight is ready to jump on this case, and whenever the knight moves, the rook on f1 will be having an open file. And obviously the queen is there sitting on the d2 square. It will be coming on h6 square. So it is a good deal for us because we have all our pieces for the attack. Okay, so gh6 was played by black. Obviously if anybody is giving you a piece, obviously you will capture it. So queen h6 was played. Now here you are threatening something from white side. Can you tell me what are you threatening here? I'll give you a little bit time and you tell me what will you play if you are white in this case. Can you tell me what will you play? It's a very easy thing, that's why I'm asking you. I hope you will get it and you will tell me what is your answer. I hope you will tell me what is the answer from white side. Well, here in this case, I think white should simply play queen h7 and it will be a check and mate. Let's see, if you play a5, this kind of a random move, then white can simply pick queen h7 and it will be a checkmate because this bishop is controlling this diagonal and the h7 square is also protected. That's why the king is not having any squares and it will be a check and mate. So obviously black understood this thing and he kept his knight on g6 square. Once he keeps the knight on g6 square, there is no way we can checkmate with queen h7 because this bishop's diagonal is now restricted. The knight is sitting on that diagonal, but we should not give up in this case. As I have mentioned earlier also, whenever you are attacked, we should have pieces. Now we have already queen there. Now it's time to bring yet another piece in the game. That's why you should play knight g5 in this case. The idea is obviously clear. We want to play queen h7 and it is going to be a check and mate. So as queen h7 is going to be a checkmate, black decided to make a room for his king and he played rook e8 in this case. Well, after rook e8, he is having a square on f8, but still, as I mentioned earlier, the rook will be sitting on the open file and rook belongs to the open file, and in this case the king is surrounded by white's queen, this knight, this bishop and the rook. And look at his defending side, he has only one defender, so it's likely that black's king is going to be checkmated very soon because he has very less number of defenders in this case. So here white decided to sacrifice. I'll tell you one more thing, that whenever you have pieces on good squares, okay, if they are well placed, then the sacrifice just flows. Okay, so white played rook f7 in this case. His idea is to obviously just play queen h7 and a checkmate. So black played bishop takes f7 and now it's time to checkmate black's king with the move queen h7 check. King will go to f8 square and now queen f7 will be a check and mate. As you can see, the knight is supporting the queen and there is no square where the black king will be going. So this is yet another successful attack which happened in this case, and all this thing was happened because white prepared for it slowly and gradually. He brought his pieces towards opponent's weaknesses. He brought his pieces wherever he wanted to attack. So these are the basics of the attacking the Tal style all the time. Yes, correct. The Tal used to play like this. The attacks usually end with sacrifices and your opponent's king will be checkmated. I hope you enjoyed this game. Should we go to the new game, guys? If you say yes, then we will go to the next game and we'll see yet another attacking game, because today we are going to see some attacking games and we are going to learn some attacking principles. So if you say yes, then we will see the next game. Please chime. Okay, Vivek is saying yes, so we'll go to the next game now. It feels good then when the audience is also a little bit talking with me. Okay, so the next game which we are going to see was played by Spillman. Spillman was a very great player of the past and now we are going to see his game. So in this game, Spillman was white and his opponent Wolfway was black, and this game was played long back in 1926 in the city of Vienna. Okay, great. So in the city of Mrutyunjay Singh is also, thanks for joining guys here. Then in this case, Spielman, as I was mentioning, was a very great player of past. He decided to play e4. Well, whenever you play a pawn, what happens, like you are controlling two squares in that case, okay? And one more thing which I already tell, you should control the center with pieces and pawns. So black also plays e6. He wants to control the squares. So white plays d4, then black plays d5. Now knight to c3. Now the pawn on e4 was attacked, that's why he protects the pawn. This pawn was attacking here, and black played knight f6. Now in this case, white has plenty of options at his disposal. He can play e5, he can play bishop g5, he can even play f3 also to protect the pawn on e4, or he can play e takes d5, which is what Spielman played in this game. I'm just telling you, at that time the game was played almost 96 years ago, in the year of 1926, and at that time players were not that much good in the opening phase. They used to play something very natural for them. They used to place their pieces wherever they are good, okay? At this current era, because of the computer use and everything, the opening theory has been improved, but all the roots of this, whatever the opening theory was, the roots are there in the past, okay? That's why we are studying the past games, to understand how these top players of the past used to play. So here ed5 was played, and now what will you play? Here we should develop our pieces, right? So white played bishop g5, developing his bishop. Obviously he wants to pin this knight on f6 square. So here why it is a pin? Because the pin is a concept where one piece, your major piece, will be behind a minor piece. In this case, the minor piece is knight on f6 and the major piece is there on the d8 square. Yes, it is a pin because the major piece is there on d8 square. The knight on f6 cannot really move anywhere, because if it moves anywhere, then the major piece, which is queen, will be lost, because our bishop is pinning the knight. So that's why I called it pin. So here black played bishop e7, unpinning the knight. Now the knight is ready to jump, okay? If you jump with the, let's suppose I'll play one random move to make it sure. So if white plays a3 kind of a move, then knight e4 is a possibility, because the queen is not being attacked, there is a bishop between them, okay? So here obviously white doesn't really need to play a3, this kind of a move. We should develop each and every time new piece in the game. That's why white played bishop d3, and here black played knight to c6. Now which piece will you play? Will you play your knight or a queen? Just answer me here. I'll wait for your answer. Let's see who is going to give me an answer. Which piece will you play? Will you play your queen or a knight, and where do you want to play your piece? Knight. Okay, Vivek is saying we should play the knight. Yes, absolutely right, we should play our knight. And white decided to play his knight on e2 square. Why is he playing on e2 square? There are two things. First of all, Zarur. Vikram, everybody is going to be a very strong player, and if you work on it, okay, and I will definitely help you to improve your chess. So stay tuned with us, so to learn every day something new from all the good coaches and good players of our country. So knight g2 is played for two reasons. One thing is that he is controlling the d4 square, which was the d4 pawn, which was being attacked by the knight. So one more thing I would like to tell you, that whenever we are playing any move, okay, we should pay attention to our opponent's threat, like what he is going to do. Wow, that's good. You have played chess at university level. That's a good thing. बस ऐसे. Yeah, in chess there are many strategical things we should pay attention. Okay, but I am telling you one very simple thing, that whenever we are playing, you should not forget that your opponent is sitting in front of you, okay? What happens is, like, we always think up from our own perspective. We never take into account what our opponent is also going to do. That is a very bad thing, because your opponent always wants to do something. He is also threatening something. He also wants to win. He's not there to just sit there and lose against you, right? So that's why we should think from our opponent's perspective what he wants to do, and we should try to stop it. That's the, okay, I got a new move from here. you are saying like bishop g4 should be played from black side. Yes, absolutely, we can play bishop g4 in this case, pinning this knight. If this knight is not able to move, then obviously knight can play knight takes d4, but from white side we have a good move that we can play f3, and we will kick this bishop away because bishop is a very valuable piece and it will not be sacrificed for the knight, for the pawn on f3. So the bishop will go to most probably e6 square or h5 square, and in that case white will just castle. As I was mentioning earlier also, guys, if you have joined the video, you can watch the video once again from the starting also. So I was mentioning that in the opening phase we should control the center, we should develop our pieces as quickly as possible, and also we should safeguard our king. This is the chronology, I'll say, which you should follow in the opening phase, and this will only help you to build up your attack. This is the preparation for the attack. The pieces should be there. It is, I will repeat it once again, that we should bring our friends to the party. If we are alone in the party, we will never be able to enjoy, and whenever we are attacking, it is all about the party thing. Like, we should enjoy with our pieces, and we should do one more thing. We'll see in this game what we are going to see. I'll not reveal it right now. So black played knight b4. Again, the same piece he is playing. This is not a good strategy. We should not play same piece again and again, because we should give chance to our other pieces also. So playing the same piece again and again is not a good strategy. We should just simply castle in this case. That is a good thing, because when we castle, we are bringing the rook in the game very efficiently, and if the rook comes in the game, then it will be a good thing, isn't it? I hope you are understanding. But okay, knight b4 was played, and definitely it is not a good thing. So here knight g3. Now you will say, like, on the previous move you were saying like knight should not be, you should not play the same move, but here knight g3 is actually a good move. Why is it like that? Yeah, castling is very important, because I'll tell you one thing. Let's suppose your king is in the center of the board, and if your opponent's pieces are also in the center of the board, at that time it's very important to safeguard your king. If it's in the center of the board, then your opponent's pieces will be very easily be able to attack your king. But if your king goes to the corner of the board, then it is unlikely that he will be able to attack your king, and this is not so easy for him to bring the pieces from, let's suppose they are on the queen side, to the king side. If your opponent's pieces are on the queen side, we should castle on the queen side. So wherever your opponent's pieces are not there to attack on you, you should castle on that side of the board. Okay, yes, definitely we cannot castle when we are under check. There should not be any check. Our king and rook should not be moved, then only we can castle. And there should not be any attack also between these two squares. If white wants to castle on this side of the board, then there should not be any attack on that side of the board. Okay, I hope I am clear about this thing, and we will continue with the game. Should I continue? I hope we can continue. So black played knight takes d3. Again he played his knight's move. He played his knight's move to sacrifice a bishop which has moved only one square, right? It is not something good, right? It is just doesn't seem like logical also, because you are taking 3 steps to capture a piece which has taken only 1 step. Means, what is this? It is not a good thing, right? So here black played queen takes d3. Yes, absolutely, queen takes d3 should be played, and black should have castle in this position so that his king will be much more safer on that side of the board. But he decided to play g6. One more thing I will tell you, whenever you play your pawn move, you create some kind of a weakness. Now as the g6 pawn is moved, there is a weakness on this h6 square, and if you castle in this position, then you can play bishop h6, and the squares around the king will be weak in this case. And one more thing I will tell you, whenever your opponent plays a move like g6 or h6, it is some kind of a hook. Okay, hook means what? You can attack on that square very easily. Like this g6 pawn is there, we can always play h4 h5, and we will be attacking on this. With g6 played, can white go for h4? Yes, definitely we can go for h4 in this case, but I will say that premature attacks are not good, because we should wait. If your opponent castles on this side of the board, then h4 h5 makes more sense. But if your opponent is not playing anything on that side of the board, then it doesn't make that much sense, because black will be able to defend his position more easily. Let's suppose if you play h4 in this case, then black can even play h6, and your bishop needs to go back. So we will wait. in chess we should not have this kind of a strategy. Like premature attacks are not good. First develop your pieces and then only go for the attack. Okay, then only go for the attack. Now white played castles, then black played c6, and now you should bring your pieces in the game. You should not hurry. So here white plays rook a e1. Now I will tell you one thing, that the position has become a little bit difficult for black because he has not castled earlier. If he had castled earlier, instead of playing the move like g6, which was a weakening move in the case, instead of castling was then he was little bit more safe in the position. But as he has delayed his castle, now you will see why you should castle, guys. Now you should see, as he has delayed his castle, the king is in the center of the board. As the king is in the center of the board, your opponent's pieces will come there in the center of the board and they will try to attack you more efficiently. And here there is a pin also. Okay, so black decided to castle in this position, but this is too late. This is too late, guys, because this knight was having the support of the g7 pawn, but the pawn has moved to g6 square. Now this bishop is there which is supporting this knight. This bishop is there which is attacking this knight, and okay, this rook is there which is attacking this bishop, and behind everything, okay, all these pieces, the queen is sitting there on d8 square. So this bishop is indirectly attacking on this queen on d8. Now my question for you is like what you should do from white side. Like I was telling earlier also, attackers and defenders. Here white is attacking on the f6 knight with the bishop on g5. Black has two defenders, the bishop and the queen on d8. So what we should do, we should try to reduce the number of defenders in the position. So what will you play here? How will you reduce the number of defenders? Can you tell me a good move here, guys? I think you know chess. You can tell me or suggest me a good move. I'll wait for your answer if you can tell me a good move in this position. In that moment, I'll drink some water. Can you tell me a good move matrix? It is white to play. Okay, rook e6, not e6. e6 पे if you play, see यहाँ पे अगर आप rook e6 पे खेलोगे तो bishop मार देगा आपको. If you play rook is bishop will just capture. I think you meant to say rook e7, right? Correct. You should play rook takes e7 in this position. Why are you playing this move? Because we want to remove a defender in the position. Yes, correct. Rook e6, rook e7 is a great move, because after queen takes e7, what has happened? This knight, which was having two defenders, the bishop and the queen, one defender is gone. Well, you can say that we have given a major piece for the minor piece, but we'll see what we are going to do. The knight is not having any other defender, the queen is the only defender, so it's now time to build up more attack. How to build up the attack? Now we have already prepared for it. Now it's time to build up the pressure on the f6 knight. So which move will you play? Also sacrifice a knight on e4. Well, before we sacrifice a knight, we can play a simple move, that is queen f3. We'll just attack the knight on f6. First of all, play simple moves. No need to sacrifice the knight right now in this position. And then once, yes, queen f3. Yes, Sahil, you're right about this thing. Queen f3 should be played, and black must save the knight, so he will play king g7 in this case. Now, yes, queen f3, and now it's time for us to build up more pressure, put more pressure on the knight on f6. How will you put more pressure on the knight on f6? Can you tell me? Because Matrix was telling about this thing earlier also. Maybe that move can be played now, but you need to calculate. You should not be like too quick. We should see our opponent's resources also. Well, h4 here is not necessary, right? You can play h4, definitely you can play h4, but there is a better move. Yes, exactly. Knight e4 should be played in this case, because once you play your knight, in this case white played knight ce4, what is happening? Okay, the pawn on d5 is there, I am agree about this thing, but if we capture the knight also here, we can simply play knight takes e4. And now, okay, the knight cannot really capture on e4 as there is a pin on this diagonal and the queen will be lost. Once the queen is lost, we can definitely win the game. So obviously he cannot really play that move. What another move is there? Well, black can capture queen takes e4. Then what will happen? Can you find out the checkmate, guys? Here, what will you play here from white side? After this game we are going to end our session, so please let me, what will you play? I hope you are getting it. We can simply play queen takes f6 check, the king will go back, and now there will be a checkmate threat on g7 square, so white can play bishop h6 and there will be a checkmate with queen g7 check and mate. Yes, absolutely right. Queen f6 should be played and followed by bishop h6, and the queen g7 checkmate cannot be prevented by black. So he did not play queen e4, he played queen e6. But now we can see the knight on f6 is being guarded by only 2 defenders, and we have 3 attackers in this position, and this is absolutely a great position for us. Although we have sacrificed 1 piece earlier, we are rook down, but we are going to recover a piece. White played bishop f6 check, then black went to g8 square, and now where do you want our queen? On f3, so that we can threaten him a checkmate. Can you tell me? Bishop takes f3, f6, and then what will you play? The squares around the king are weakened in this case. So what to do? The last move, the last plan in this game. We have prepared for the attack. We have launched the attack also. Now it's time to finish off our opponent. Where will you bring our queen? On f3. Yes, definitely, Pranali, you are absolutely right about this thing. The queen should be played on f4 square, so that we can go to h6 square, followed by queen g7 will be a checkmate. No matter what black is going to do, he is going to be checkmated. Let's suppose he plays queen g4. Okay, he wants us to capture the queen, but we are not going to do that. We'll simply play queen h6 and we will be checkmating on the next move, and there is no way black can defend the position. He will be checkmated. So this is yet another example of crushing attack, you will say. All the 3 games which we saw today were like very easy to understand also, and I hope you enjoyed today's session, guys. Did you enjoy? If you enjoyed the session, please let me know in comment section. You can say yes, and if you say yes, then we'll definitely. And did you understand also? Please say yes if you have enjoyed. I hope you have enjoyed. So just to, yes, wow, you have enjoyed. So in this game also I will just recap what really happened. Yes, you have enjoyed it. I'll just recap what happened. We started with e4, we tried to control the center, then we brought our pieces in the game as quickly as possible. That is very important. We should bring our pieces, and then we should not play our pieces again and again. Okay, I told you, we should assign jobs to each and every person and let them do that thing. Don't do this like all the jobs by yourself. There are some people, take their help. Don't do all the jobs only by yourself. Okay, so knight d3, queen d3, g6 was played, then castles, and it's time to bring our pieces. I'll tell you once again, bring all your friends to the party. You cannot really party hard if you don't have your friends in the party, so call everyone. So that's what we should do on the board also. Whenever we are attacking, we should bring all our pieces. Okay, so castling and rook e7, this was a crushing move, and after this we kept on pressurizing the f6 knight, and we brought more pieces to the e4 square, attacking on f6, and finally the checkmate was happened after queen f4 followed by queen h6, and it was a checkmate. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed everything, and we will meet with something more interesting in the next lecture also. So stay tuned with me for learning the art of attack. I'll take your leave. Thank you for joining me once again. See you guys. Goodbye.